Hey everybody, welcome back to Un Poquito podcast. I wanted to take a second to thank all of our patrons for all of our continued support. We really could not do this show without you guys. I also wanted to fill you in on a little bit of an update that we're going to be having. Starting on the next episode, we will be moving shout outs for the $15 tier at the top of the episode and giving producer credits for our $10 tier at the end of the future episodes. We just want to keep our episodes as efficient as we can, and as our podcast continues to grow, we just want to make sure people are able to enjoy the bulk of the episodes without having to sit through all of the names of all of our wonderful supporters. Again, thank you so much. Thank you for your support and for your understanding. We hope you enjoy the episode. We want to take this opportunity to shout out our official sponsor, Legacy Teas and Spices. Normally, we would be shouting out the different tea blends that we have, you know, the vanilla lemongrass, the peach lavender rose, the Domsy, the Bombsy. This time around, we're going to be talking about food this episode, and we just shot a vlog where we made we tested out some recipes, and for those recipes, Legacy Teas and Spices was kind enough to supply all the spices we needed. And these blends, you know, the flavor profiles are from all over the world. We have Jamaican jerk. What else they got?
Hot Ethiopian, which is kind of like our version of Burberry spice.
Yep.
Chinese 5 spice. We have curries. A bunch of different stuff. It's really good.
My favorite is the Mexican blend. And, you know, it's a little bit on the nose, but honestly, it's a great blend. It's got great flavor. My favorite things to make it with are chicken, and it tastes amazing on eggs. It has that chorizo and eggs flavor without the chorizo. So if you're trying to cut back on meats, it's a good option. So yeah, check it out. Amazing flavors, save you time in the kitchen, and go to legacyteasandspices.com and use code UP20 for 20% off your order.
Hello, I'm Ryan Reyes.
And I'm Dominic Angel.
And together we're
Un Poquito Podcast.
Because they have like a trumpet in there.
If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, give us a like, leave a comment below. Comments make you sexy. I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. If you hear our dog clicking and clacking around, it's because we're shooting at Ryan's house, and there's a lot of dogs that walk around. So you'll see them walking in and out. You'll probably hear them in the background. God damn this guy.
Hermes gets lonely.
If you're listening on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, leave a comment. Can you leave a comment? No, rate and review. That's the one. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Un Poquito Pod. Send us an email at unpoquitopod@gmail.com.
Check out the Discord.
Oh yeah, join our Discord. It's free.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm in it.
I'm in it too.
Yeah, he's in it too, but I'm in it.
There's a lot of stuff going on in there. People talk about D&D. We share music. We talk about video games. Everybody shares their food pictures. It's a lot of fun. And like we said, it's free to join. All the links are in the description below. If you want to support us on Patreon, feel free. We gave our shout outs at the top. And yeah, actually, speaking of like the Patreon and all this stuff, housekeeping stuff, I kind of wanted to take a second to share some big-ish news. You know, this is our first month of doing this podcast, and it's been no secret that we've been playing catch-up. We're working from scratch, and we've been having to figure a lot of things out. And, you know, it's been a little bit hectic the first month, right?
Yeah, it's been, you know, we're rebuilding.
It's not been ideal, but we want to make it clear, we want to make it known that this podcast is something that Ryan and I are both passionate about. And we have a lot of really huge ideas coming up and a lot of exciting things that we're working towards. I wanted to make an announcement that I'm very thankful that I recently got a full-time job. So now thank you. Pretty much what that just means for the podcast is that I'll have a set schedule and I'll be able to focus my time on the things that I need to focus on without having to, you know, figure out if I have to work or not. Now we also will have the resources for Ryan to work on the podcast full time. So, you know, we're excited We have a lot of great things in mind. I keep saying that, but we can expect more consistency and bigger things to come.
A lot of big ideas.
Yeah. Also, we're going to be moving to Friday releases. This will be released on a Friday. And for now, we're going to release new episodes on Friday. Patreon by Wednesday.
Yeah, just giving us more windows to actually like edit them and stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely excited about things to come and just very grateful for all the support that we've got. All the old listeners, all the new listeners that just discovered us. Thank you for being here. And we're excited for the future.
Hell yeah.
So having said all that, this episode, not to insinuate anything, but we're talking about food and it was your idea.
It certainly was, because I like history. Not because I'm fat, because I like history. I am fat, though.
I didn't say it.
You didn't have to.
I'm getting there, man. But that's all right.
But it was a fun episode. Fun thing to research. So part of why I wanted to do this episode is a while back, me and Doc were talking about like, it started with me wanting to talk about processed foods. You guys have seen the clips about me shooting on like alternative recipes for tacos. Mm-hmm. And it kind of just grew into this urge to like not only research new recipes or more traditional recipes, but also the history behind those recipes. I ended up looking into the history of like horchata and tacos and elotes. It was a lot of fun. And it coincided with what we had planned with the vlog, which was to try new like family recipes, like recipes we'd never tried before that other people like just grew up on.
Yeah, we did that for the vlog. Shout out to Maya Rooney, whose idea was to send us recipes that we could try out. And we're actually, it's so funny. I feel so bad because it was Maya's idea, but she didn't get her recipe to us in time for the vlog. So we didn't get to try out her recipe for arroz con pollo.
But it was fun. Like we want to do more of that.
Yeah, we're going to be doing more of them. So, join the Discord, send us emails. We're going to make a cooking thing like, I don't want to say a monthly thing, but we're going to make it a regular thing. Like as regular as we can make it. But yeah, it was a lot of fun learning about, we made mofongo and we made tinga. We didn't look up the history of tinga, but it was fucking bomb.
It was really good. And honestly, like, we didn't run into any major issues, but there was a couple of hiccups. And considering what they were, and considering we'd never made either of these things before, it came out amazing.
Yeah, the mofongo was fucking, I've never had it.
Bonkers.
If you don't know what it is, it's basically, it's a Puerto Rican dish that's basically mashed plantains and chicharrones, and it is really good.
From what I've seen, because the only version I've had is my own, is it's kind of like somewhere between mashed potato and like stuffing consistency.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be blended with cooked chicharrones. It's really good. It's really savory. You serve it with like a protein option. We forgot the protein option, but coincidentally, when we made chicken tinga, we also forgot tostadas. So we ended up combining them. It was really good.
And yeah, it was good. So yeah, the vlog for that will be released next week. So you can take a look at that if you're on the Patreon. And yeah, we'll have more of those to come.
I was excited. So I wanted to ask this to kind of get into the vibe of things. What was the first dish you learned to cook on your own?
I mean, I feel like the easy thing would be like eggs, like scrambled eggs.
Kind of the same.
I feel like most people, it's something like scrambled eggs, spaghetti, pasta, stuff like that.
So I ended up making like pasta donuts, and we couldn't waste food. So we still went ahead with the meal, and we poured sauce over these pasta donuts. It was...
You didn't put enough water.
Bad. I didn't put enough water, and then I didn't stir it, so the pasta stuck to itself.
Yeah, and also I'm pretty sure you didn't use the correct pan.
So
I don't know, just everything was wrong. Yeah, and they all stuck together.
I still ate it. It was good.
It was disgusting.
I liked it.
That's because you're autistic.
Hey. It's for autism.
What is the thing with autism, like being associated with butter noodles?
I don't know. I think it's a thing of... I don't think that autistic people have a heightened sense of their senses. Like, I don't think that they're stronger than everyone else is. I think they're just more aware of their senses. Autism is a thing that affects how you absorb information. So they just pay more attention to every source of information coming at them. And that's why we get sensory overload. So because of that, there's things like texture and certain like alarming flavors that are too strong when you first try them that I think immediately, like their first response is to never eat that thing ever again because it fucks them up. And so an easy thing to make is noodles. They're very simple texture, and butter is a very simple thing to add to them because it melts and you don't feel anything else but the noodles. So it's a really easy thing to eat.
Man, I don't think I'm autistic because I fucking love garlic, dude.
I mean, I love to cook. I'm autistic.
But anyway, yeah, I love to cook too. I've been cooking since I was like 13, I would say, and I definitely have become one of those people that love to host. One of my favorite things to do. I used to do this like in my early 20s.
Right.
Was host dinner parties. I love cooking for people. I love having gatherings. And the interesting thing though is that I don't make a whole lot of Mexican food. I'll make like pasta, or I'll make like
interesting or suspicious.
Yeah, I don't make a whole lot of Mexican food. I mean, now lately I do. I have my fucking famous chicken. But yeah, before it was like I would find like recipes for like other things.
Yeah.
I made like Filipino pancit, which is really good. And I also made a really good like potato tadig, which is like a Iranian dish, Persian dish. Yeah.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, it's really good.
I was always into like Italian and French cuisine, like not even French cuisine, but French technique. So like I was really into making steak and pork chops and various pastas.
I fucking hate French food. All of it. I'd have never had it.
I like their pastries.
Fuck their pastries.
They invented puff
pastry. I fucking
pastry.
hate so much these people talk about French pastries is bullshit, dude. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's so delicate. It's so like, so I don't know what the fuck. And then you get a cream puff and it just tastes like air with like a little bit of sugar in it.
I just like how I found out that puff pastry is like super easy to make. It's just like folding butter into the dough.
Yeah. And you want fucking points for that? Go fuck yourself.
No, I don't think that I put French bakery cuisine on like a pedestal. I do like it though. I think in general though, desserts, when you learn how they're made, are the most simple. Like it's all very technical, but at the same time, it's like the most basic thing you could ever think of. Like, oh yeah, of course someone thought of that.
Once you learn how much sugar is in things, you're like, fuck. What should we be eating this?
50% sugar, almost everything that you make. That's like creme brulee is just sugar, cream, and eggs.
Crazy.
That's it. Or like this one made you upset when I first told you. Peanut butter cookies.
It's just peanut butter.
It's peanut butter, powdered sugar, and an egg. And then you bake that shit. That's kind of one thing that I feel like is universal about baking is it's so simple.
I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's an easy thing to fuck up. I don't really bake. Like I feel like I'm somebody that likes to improvise in the kitchen. And so with baking, you can't really do that. You can, but less so.
Yeah, it really depends on what you're making. I would say to that point, like that's where French cuisine is a little too technical. Is like you cannot fuck around in French cuisine, whereas like American cuisine from like the early 1900s was so easy. They literally half the time just put shit in Jell-O.
Oh man,
bonkers.
But yeah, through all this stuff, it's very interesting how much I love to cook, but I mean, outside of like grilling asada, or
Right.
like, you know, I don't really make. I make tamales around the holidays. I don't really make anything else that I would consider like Mexican food. So I was excited about exploring this because obviously, like, we love to eat Mexican food.
Right.
It's like growing up, you know, that's what we ate.
Has there been a dish that you learned even recently that you just like were very proud of? I have one, and I don't have a lot of opportunities to make it, but I know how, and I was really accomplished.
Like Mexican food?
Yeah,
I mean, that thing that we made
that was pretty good.
for the vlog was really good. And we made those chingadera burgers.
What's a chingadera burger?
When you say it like that, like if you're going to pull one out of it. By the way, I brought one with me.
I like to make my own honey.
No. So, you know, tinga, it's just called tinga, but I don't know why, but when I was first introduced to it, my coworkers called it chicken tinga. So now it's like embedded in me to just every time I refer to it, I say chicken tinga.
I will say to that point, I think the reason is because sometimes you use pork.
Oh, yeah, probably. So I always say chicken tinga. And then I was explaining to our dad what we were making, and I kept saying chicken tinga, and he kept going chingadera. Like, what are you talking about? So then when we made the mofongo and the tinga, he was making burgers and hot dogs for everybody else, and so we just had a little bit of extra chicken left over. So me and him both had the idea to put on our burger, and it was fucking bomb. And then he added like pepper jack and spicy mayo and spicy pickles, and so we were just like, what are we going to call this? And we were like, it's the chingadera burger, since we were calling it chicken tinga chingadera.
Honestly, I'd be down to make that again.
Yeah.
That was
We
like
should
the
make
funny...
that on Saturday for your birthday.
Oh, yeah. That was the funniest thing about that experience. Though, is kind of my dad turned into craft services, because even though it was a vlog about food, we really only got enough ingredients for like a single dish.
Yeah.
To taste test, and then it happened to coincide with the family dinner night.
Yeah. But that one was good. Like I said, I don't know. I mean, outside of tamales are my favorite food, like, ever. Like, it's no secret. I fucking love tamales. Like, they're the best thing in the world. It's my goal this year, starting now, to try tamales from every country that makes them. Because I've only had Guatemalan, which are my favorite. Those are the best. If you haven't had them, they're like huge, and they're fucking like, it's like they fucking put pozole in them or something.
I just remember the first time you tried them, you told me about them, and I didn't know that other regions other than Mexico made tamales. So I thought you said watermelon tamales, and I was like, the fuck is a watermelon tamale?
I'm sure they make that. They have the strawberry masa and the piña masa.
Did I just invent something?
No, you didn't. You're just sitting here talking. Jesus Christ. No, Guatemalan tamales are the best. Salvadoran, not that much of a fan of. Mexican, it's the go-to. It's like, I know people make fun of them because they're small and they don't have a lot of meat in them, but it's the best flavor.
That sounds like people making fun of me growing up.
When you make...
I used to be very small.
Used to.
What were you gonna say?
But yeah, outside of that stuff, I don't really have like a dish that I make that I can say that.
I learned how to make elotes, which, like, it's a very, once you know how they're made, it's a simple recipe. But
It's just roasted corn.
yeah, it's literally just boiled corn, and then you coat it
You
with...
don't boil them, you steam them.
Yes, in the big pot.
Yes.
And then...
Like tamales.
Yes. But it was fun, and I've only ever done it one time, like, homemade, but it was amazing. It was a fun experience.
Yeah. I mean, roasted corn is bomb. It's better roasted.
Yeah.
But, you know.
For mass production, or not mass production, but for, like, street carts, they steam them.
Yeah.
Because you can, I think, they don't steam them in the cart, but they last longer that way.
Man, one year it was so traumatizing. So, like, it was so funny. I was in band, right? Well, we were in band.
Oh.
I was in photography club. I was a president of photography club, and one of my responsibilities for that was to figure out like a fundraiser. So I convinced my mom, who was like in the parent boosters for the band. This all like all of these moving parts need to work for this story to happen. But essentially, in marching band, there's tournaments, and it's like not a lottery, but it's like a. There's only so many tournaments, so each high school like that's in the thing wants to get like the tournament. They want to host because it's a huge moneymaker, because you have something like 24 marching bands show up, which probably each, averages out to like 100 students.
Yeah.
Plus their families. Like these are, and it's 12 hours. So it's all day. It's bigger than like football.
Yeah.
So it's a huge moneymaker, and they don't let fucking anybody outside like sell stuff that's not. They wouldn't let any of the other like clubs or any other things like sell things, especially if they were selling food, because that's what they made their most money out of. But it was like we had to sell something that the parent boosters couldn't sell. So like we couldn't do things like hamburgers or hot dogs. We couldn't do drinks.
Nachos.
We couldn't do nachos. Anything that they were selling, we could not do. It had to be something extra that they didn't have the capability of doing. So we brainstormed, and it was actually my mom's idea. So thanks, Mom. Always listen to your mother. It was like, what if you guys sold corn? Because we can't do that.
Right.
What if you guys sold corn? So it was like, hell yeah, we'll do that. And then it was my job to go shop around and find the cheapest corn we could find. And I found a place that was like, I might be getting this wrong, but I want to say it was like $4 for $1, or it might have been like $5 for $5, something like that.
Right.
Hella cheap corn. The only thing we ended up spending $200 on corn and just like clean this dude out of all the corn that he had. That corn kid has nothing on me, dog. You like corn? Anyway, we had to mention the corn kid. All right. It had to be done. There's nothing to say about him. Let him live his life. Anyway. So I ended up buying what felt like 1,000 pieces of corn. Like we just bought all of it, loaded up our truck, and then we distributed it to different like students that were in the club so that we could steam them. Oh, they needed to be shucked.
That was the thing I was waiting for.
That was the thing. So they were all needed to be shucked, like, peeled and honestly, everybody should have an experience like this. Like, know where your food comes from. I know what goes behind like getting your food ready to be eaten, because we probably had like 200 just with us.
Yeah, we spent like a weekend doing that shit.
We definitely spent like an evening. I don't know if it was a weekend, but we spent like a lot of time just shucking corn, just like peeling it, throwing it away. And one thing that I didn't know about corn was that caterpillars like to eat and live in corn.
Yeah.
And so there's no way to do this with like, sometimes you would get lucky and grab it from a certain part, but there's no way to peel it and be able to see if there's a caterpillar. They all live on the fucking top. Like if this is the piece of corn.
Yeah, like the fuzz that forms at the top.
They all live at the top, and that's where you grab it from to peel, to shuck. So it must have happened like 20 times.
It was a lot. And the thing was too, is like, if you found one that was burrowed in, you had to break off that piece.
Yeah.
And they got everywhere. I squished like a lot of caterpillars.
It would just happen where I would be like shucking something, and then you would just feel it, and you're like, fuck. And then it's just like, and they're fucking big and juicy.
It's got the juice. It's corn. That's corn.
And yeah, so it was just so much work. So like street vendors I'm sure that they spend their time shucking corn. Somebody has to do it, you know what I mean? So they're spending their time shucking that shit and like making it ready to be sold. And it's like, that's fucking hard work, dude.
That's the thing that I thought was like because they have to make like day batches. They can't just spend their whole time.
Yeah,
so they wake up early in the morning, shuck the caterpillars out of the corn, clean the corn, and then steam them.
One thing that I didn't know about corn was that you can't make it the day before. It has to be made the day of. We found out the hard way because we made it. We were like, we have so much corn, we're not gonna have time to make it. We need to be able to last all day. So we made a bunch the night before. Like, there's only one kid that didn't make the corn the night before. He made it the day of. And if you make it the night before and you try to keep it for too long, it gets super fucking hard, like a rock.
Yeah. And
I didn't know that. So we ended up having like a bunch of like rock hard corn and then just like one batch of this guy's like perfect corn.
But it sold out.
Yeah.
It was popular. I remember that started a thing for the next 4 years of my high school career because this kid from like a school where was predominantly white children saw the elote booth and went, dude, they have cure. And for the rest of for forever, it would piss Dominic and Diego and my other brothers off so much that I would call it Kieran. I'm like, oh yeah, you guys want to get some Kieran? And it sounded like a Troy Baker, like South Park character come to life. It was the funniest fucking thing. This guy said this with 100% like genuine innocence. This is just how he talked, but I couldn't stop laughing at him. And I ran into that kid like 4 more times that day.
One thing that's funny is how like, you know, corn is fucking the cream of the crop. I don't know what else to say. Corn is, you know, it's like a staple in Mexican food. It's a staple in indigenous food. Like it's like
that was the thing when I was just a small fact about elote. So the recipe for elote comes from Spain, but the use of corn, a lot of people get confused, was already prominent in indigenous people going back as far as the Aztecs. As far as they could find history of it, we always had corn.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's like our number one food source. It's a staple of everything that we eat. Like
if anything, we showed them how to grow corn. Here.
Well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
But what's very funny is that like, you know, Americans have corn, but I don't know. I feel like Americans, like white Americans, it's like corn is just something you have. Like it's just like something you have part of your dinner, part of whatever. There's corn on the cob. But they don't. When we were doing the tournament, I didn't realize like the difference of like white people eating corn versus Mexicans eating corn.
Yeah.
Because our shit, you know, was fucking loaded with like mayo and butter and cheese and salsa and lime and not salsa, fucking spices, hot sauce, and all, like chile, all this stuff.
Butter.
Yeah. And like we were at the tournaments, you know, you get high schools from all over Southern California. So a lot of them came from white schools, from Pasadena, from Temple, from fucking all over the place, but like predominantly white schools. So they would come and they would see, they're like, what's this corn? And they were just like, they literally just wanted butter with salt and pepper.
Because that's the thing, we'd go to other school tournaments and they literally just served roasted corn with butter.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I was like, I mean, it's not bad. It's corn.
Yeah. But it would just be like roasted, like they would just, the amount of people, bottles. The amount of times like people were like, what? You're putting Parmesan on a corn?
they would explode. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely bonkers. He's like, you've lived in California your entire life. You've never heard of this once.
Yeah, we'd be I would be standing there eating. It's just the funniest thing.
Just imagine
just this fucking Mexican kid. Like I was like super dark and like had my fucking stringy mustache and my long hair, and I was like,
just imagining you like the character from Nacho Libre.
Yeah.
During the knife scene, just.
yeah, I was just standing there eating my corn, like, and they'd be like, "What is on there?" And then I was like, "Oh, it's fucking elote." I was just like, "Oh, it's elote. It's got like mayo, cheese, da da da." And they were like, "No, thank you. I'll just have butter and salt, please."
Which sounds so much weirder. Like that's the funny.
I know.
thing.
That's
like,
where I was like, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah. I'll just have noodles with butter. Ugh.
Maybe she was autistic.
No. So many people say that to me. You don't understand how frustrating.
But yeah, so it's funny how much like corn is, even though I don't think about corn that much, but it just like is like so much of it is part of like our life, our culture, our food.
Yeah, there was also like learning about the history of corn, specifically like in America, was interesting because, like you said, it's so ingrained in
Grains.
Bitch. It's so enveloped in like the culture of she's just trying to look for things, and the culture of the food here that people don't understand that even in like American food, like barbecue and everything, the only reason that you started using corn in the first place is because you came to a place where there was an abundance of it because someone showed you how to cook corn. That was an interesting thing. So even in the way that America uses corn, that was invented by indigenous people, by like people of color.
Yeah. And then they took it and made gasoline and a bunch of disinfect. Dude, there's people that are allergic to corn and they have the saddest life. No, like really, so this is going off on a tangent, but like people that are allergic to corn are fucked. Like
there's so much they can't have.
There's so much stuff that they can't have, including vegetables, because there's a lot of vegetables that are sanitized with a substance that is derived from corn.
It's also like corn's used for natural sweetener, corn syrup.
Cornstarch. Most
vegetable oil.
Most animals are fed with corn. And like grains like that, so they can't have. So there's like a small list of things and places.
That's like worse than a gluten allergy.
Yeah, I heard this like radio feature on it about people with allergies, and it was like, dude, I thought like nuts were bad, but this shit is fucking beyond belief, dude. So shout out to those people.
Sorry. Also, corn is just so. It's just. I don't know why this became like an episode of
corn episode.
Super corny. Another fun fact about corn. It hits more than one food group in the food pyramid or food plate, whatever criteria you use nowadays. Corn is a vegetable, a grain, a fruit, and a root.
Damn. This fool's got the EGOT of the food
I got the
pyramid.
juice.
EGOT.
Yes.
Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony.
I want to meet those guys and tell them to fuck off.
Anyway. Yeah, this really did become the corn episode. But moving on.
There's other foods, but they all have corn in them.
Also, blueberry and corn is fucking delicious.
I've heard of it, hadn't tried it yet, looking forward to it.
Yes.
But even just like, there's so many different uses, even just like masa in general. Like champurado's made from corn, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's made with masa.
Yeah, I saw, we were watching like what do you call it? A docu-series on Netflix, and this one was making the masa powder to make champurrado, and she was like grinding it with cocoa beans and cinnamon and clove. It's amazing.
Yeah. That series, I don't know how I feel about it.
It's a little weird.
It was street. It's called Street Food. It's on Netflix. It's Street Food Latin America, and it's one thing. I'm always suspicious of these fucking docuseries because the people that they chose to include are very interesting, and they had like really like stories of like hardship and resilience. Maybe it's just me being too sensitive, so feel free to call me out for being sensitive about this stuff. But
Nerd.
it's well, I just like it feels kind of patronizing.
Yeah, I can
sometimes
definitely see
where
that.
it's just like Mexican people are live a humble life, and they're all about hard work, and which yes, that does exist.
I definitely think in general, when it comes to any kind of reality or documentation, it always depends on who's making it. And you can always tell the difference between somebody who is interested in this topic and someone who has a personal connection to it.
Yeah, they seem like some people that are interested in the topic, but not, because there's other docuseries that I've watched about food, and like the Taco Chronicles is really cool.
Right.
This one is more. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make something that not a lot of people know about and show it in an interesting way. But the thing that I don't like is like the how they like try to create a story out of I don't know. Maybe that's just
No, I get what you mean. It's like, it's not interesting unless it's thought provoking. I mean, not to say.
Well, it's like it feels like they came in and they need somebody that like.
It's like American Idol. Like they look for people with stories
Right.
to push the idea.
Right. But have you seen that YouTube channel, De Mi Rancho a Tu Cocina?
No, but I think you were telling me about it.
It's just this little old lady, and she just decided one day that she wanted to share her recipes. So it's literally like her. I think one of her grandkids has the camera, and like they're not professionals. Like literally, they just follow her around her garden. She goes and picks ingredients, or she gets like the meat, and then she's like in a little kitchen, like in her. She has like a shack. Or now, it started out as just her like. She just wanted to share recipes because she was like, I'm getting older and I want to share these things. At least that's the story that I remember. But like it fucking popped, and like she got millions of views, like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And like it became a thing where like she would cook like all this stuff. There's a meme that came out of it where it was like, it was like the hustle never stops or something. And it's her like grinding corn, and it just like the subtitles say like I grind and I grind, and when I can't, and then when I'm done, I grind some more.
That's hilarious.
But it's like stuff like that is really cool when it's like genuine from the person, and you get to learn about them and about their story. Also, I'm always careful with these documentaries, how this is becoming its own thing.
Honestly, it's like hard to find adequate, like not only something informative, but something to connect to. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like that should be an important thing. But like, even just, we were trying to do research for this episode, and I was trying to look up videos on the history of corn. Mm-hmm. And I found one that was the history of elotes in Latin America. And then, so it starts off with a pan over of a cornfield, and then you just hear elotes are a very important cultural thing for Mexicans. And it was just this white girl, and I don't mean any like she's trying to be informative, but it was just to hear that off the bat. It's like, okay, so this isn't for me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all weird stuff. David Cho, I forgot the name of his. I think it's called Ugly Delicious.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
David Cho has a really good episode on Mexican food. And Rick Martinez, who was previously part of Bon Appetit and now is like gone to do other things.
Right.
Rick Martinez is super cool. Like he had a whole thing about Mexican food and tacos. He has like a whole thing about tacos and like the different types of them, what you can do with them, and it's really interesting.
That was an interesting thing because from what I found, so tacos were also something that came from, I don't think it was specifically Europeans, but tacos weren't an idea that was necessarily indigenous to here, but it was something that we developed as Mexicans.
I don't know if that's true.
So how we know them today is Mexican, or it is from here, but what started it technically is not, from what I understand. And I think the closest thing that I can come to is, I forget what it's called and I don't want to fuck it up, but there's this dough that's made in Africa. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It has it starts with an F, but it's just like baked dough. It's very pliable. You pull it apart. It's like a bread, and you pull it apart and you use it to grab the meat that they make.
Right.
And that it gets a little bit complicated when you start to break down certain recipes, because a lot of the influence of what it is today is from indigenous people. It's what we made them into. But a lot of the recipes also come from other influences. Some of them are Asian. Some of them are Mediterranean. Some of them are specifically African, like stuff like that. So I don't think that Africans or tacos were invented in Africa. They were invented here, but they were inspired by other things.
Well, I just mean I feel like corn tortillas were always a thing in indigenous culture. Like tamales were indigenous.
Tamales are an indigenous thing, yeah.
So that's why it's I don't know. I mean, I didn't do the research you did.
Well, it was so a lot of the food we came up with ourselves, but some of it's, like I said, elote comes from Spain, but we made it our own. So a similar thing of we would just be introduced to these things and we would find out how to make it ourselves.
I mean, look, elotes are bomb, but it would fucking take a white person to put mayonnaise on that shit. They'll put mayonnaise on whatever they can get their fucking grubby hands on. What were you saying? I just got so mad when you said that it was from fucking Spain.
No, I agree.
There's so many things that I'm like, when I find out, I mean, look, at a certain point, you just got to let go of shit and not be fucking petty all the time. But there's certain things that I love about Mexican culture.
Yeah.
And then I find out that it's from Spain and I'm like, fuck all of this.
But we made it our own.
Burn it all down.
They make something that I think it's also called elote, but it has a longer name. They make a specific dish that's different from ours. But more what I'm speaking on is just the cultural influence and shared the shared culture of all of it. Because that was the thing that I found out recently, and I told you earlier today, was slavery. Europeans bringing slaves from Africa to the Americas was not the first time that indigenous people of the Americas were introduced to Africans. There's actually, I forget the name of him, but it's like a legend. It's a historical fact. An emperor from Africa came over to Latin America and stayed here and lived here and brought people with him that later grew up here. And so we actually already had African culture in our society before the Europeans even showed up.
That's really interesting. I did not know about any of that stuff.
And I think that is where we also get horchata.
Full circle.
Because there's a recipe for horchata, or it's for a drink that's extremely identical to horchata, made in Africa, but they don't use rice. They use a kind of clove that's indigenous to Africa, and they use different grains, but they also use, it's the same process. You soak the grain in water, you soak it with clove, cinnamon, and other spices, and then you mash it, strain it, and pour it as a beverage.
I do not fuck with horchata.
I love horchata.
I don't know what it is. I'm such a hater on a lot of things. I don't know what. I just like rice and sweets. I have a major sweet tooth.
What's your go-to when you go to a Mexican restaurant? Is it orange bang, horchata, or Jamaica?
If those are the three options, then I would go with Jamaica.
Jamaica's pretty good.
Yeah. The only thing about Jamaica is if you drink too much of it, maybe I'm allergic because it makes my tongue feel funny.
I don't know, because it's also a flour. It can be a reactionary thing.
Yeah. So if it's between orange bank will be a second, but I'm not a huge fan of like orange cream.
My mom loves orange bank.
Yeah.
It's her favorite drink. I always went for horchata, but it really depends on the mood. Like I like just horchata as a beverage, but if it was like a really hot day or if like I was very like needed something that was more like refreshing, I would go with Jamaica.
Also, the other thing is that I don't like milk. And I know that, you know what's weird is that I drink rice milk sometimes. I'm just like blowing my mind right now. But yeah, I don't really fuck with milk at all. Like even like almond milk or soy milk. Like I'll have some in my coffee or I'll eat cereal with it.
I don't like almond milk. I tried it once and I was like, this just tastes like water that had almonds sitting in it. And my brother's like, our little brother who's vegan was like, that's how they make it. I'm like, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Never give it to me ever again. I like soy milk and I like oat milk.
It's all right. But yeah, there's something I just was not drinking milk and I'm not a fan of cinnamon. I'm sorry, man. I just don't like horchata. I feel bad.
I love horchata. You don't like all of my favorite Mexican foods.
Yeah, well, they're bad.
You know what we're having for my birthday?
What?
What is that cake?
Ugh, barf.
I feel like you couldn't decide between black and barf. Blarf.
Tres leches.
It sounded like you told me to fuck off in Klingon.
Look, dude. Tres leches is already trying to die, all right? And you need to just let it go.
It's not going to die. It'll live forever.
It already tried to drown itself?
They make vegan tres leches now. It's delicious.
Why so many leches? Well, I fucking can't stand tres leches, man. It's so gross. Why do you want that texture in your mouth?
I don't know, but I love it.
You pick up the box and it's like all leaking.
It's like eating cake. Okay, when you eat cake with ice cream, do you eat the ice cream right away or do you let it melt a little bit into the cake?
No.
Never? Bah. I love how physically you have to reject this idea.
It's disgusting.
It's the best.
You eat one, soggy cake.
So you try to eat the cake fast?
I eat one or the other.
You never mix them ever. You never put your ice cream on your cake.
I'll eat it together. Yeah, that's not the same thing.
It's this.
No, it is not. No, it is not. Because the ice cream does not make the cake soggy until it melts. So you take a scoop of ice cream and a scoop of cake and you eat it like that. If you don't fucking let it melt and then say, hey, I'm going to let this be like a fucking kitchen
you're
sponge.
Also the dude that doesn't like dunking cookies, right?
Listen, I'm a fucking 30-year-old man.
Dude.
I don't need to be dunking cookies in my milk. First of all, milk is disgusting.
Any pastry where milk is involved, you have to let it soak somehow.
No.
What about a bazooki? Do you let the ice cream out?
Yeah, but that's because eating warm cookies gives me chorro.
I know. Honestly, I know what you're talking about, but just because I know that there's some people who don't know what you're talking about, what is chorro?
Diarrhea.
No, but yeah, eating a warm cookie quickly fucks up your stomach.
Yeah, so, I'm a fan of the Pizookie, okay? One time, I ordered a chocolate chip cookie from a pizza place, and it was $5.
Yeah.
It was like $6 or $7, and I was like, that's a lot for a cookie. And then when it showed up, it was like a pan cookie, like a Pizookie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck. Well, that explains it. But then I still ate all of it, and it hurt my stomach.
I remember the first time I ever had a Pizookie was on my birthday, and it was like a huge deal for me. So I always, as a kid, had this thing about doing something on the day of my birthday. It always felt weird to me. Now that I know it's because of my autism, but it always felt weird to me to wait to celebrate my birthday. I was like, but it's today. Can I just like get the day off of school or something? But so one time I was like, I think I was having like a bad year. I want to say this was like my 9th birthday, maybe my 7th birthday. Between those 2 years, pre-adolescence. But I was having a really rough time. And so on the day, we did take the day off and my mom took me to BJ's. And that was the first time I ever had Pizookie. And I got to eat the whole thing by myself. It was good.
That's where it started, huh?
and the rest was history. I was trying to make a pun, but nothing rhymed except.
But what did you learn about tacos?
Apart from that, tacos seem to be like a huge staple, and they actually seem to inspire everyone, like a bunch of other recipes elsewhere. Like even in small stuff like non-tacos, like Indian tacos. Mm-hmm. Those are amazing. Have you had those? Like at Chutney?
I mean, there's a restaurant in Pasadena called Chutney's that they do Indian tacos.
Yeah.
That are really good.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, with the African thing, it seems like they were inspired by someone else, but then what Mexico made as the taco, the flat tortilla and everything that is the taco is what inspired other people to make their own versions. I don't know what they're called. That the non-taco is the only thing I have reference for, but like then everyone started like using bread to pick up food instead of utensils.
Can I just say something about Mexican food?
Go for it.
A lot of people like to sit there and make fun of Mexican food and say that it's all the same because it's meat and cheese on top of a tortilla. And they're like, oh, burritos are the same thing as tacos. They're the same thing as tostadas. They're the same thing as enchiladas. They're the same thing as nachos. They're the same thing as sopes. Listen, go fuck yourself, all right? You're going to stand there and laugh at Mexican food? Meanwhile, Italy is sitting over there on their fucking high horse with 15 different types of pasta that all taste the same. And they're trying to sell it to me that it's a new invention because it fucking is a bow tie. Oh, you made a nice, pretty shape. Yeah, I stopped playing with Play-Doh in 4th grade, okay? That's a little bit late for some people, but not for me.
It does say 7 and up.
Yep. And up. Mexican food needs to get the respect that it deserves, and Italy can go fuck itself. Even though I like pizza and spaghetti and a lot of other things that they make.
I like cannolis.
Cannolis are dumb.
Why?
I don't like their pastries, okay?
I don't think
that's pretty much it. I just think there's a lot of nuances to Mexican food, and yeah, there's tortillas and stuff on top of things, but it's like I don't know. It's
all so different. Like even just did we already talk about the flat thing that lady made on charcoal?
Oh no. Well, that was a big reason why I felt this way, because we were watching that thing and it's like it was a new exciting thing for me. Forgive me because I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but I just found out about tlayudos. Or is it tlayudas? I'm not sure. But if you don't know what it is, it's like a huge tortilla that they stuff with like beans and meat and like mole and other spices, and they fold it up and like roast it over coals, so it gives it like a nice like smoky toasted flavor.
Yeah,
and it looks amazing. I want to try it, but I was just like, it's another thing with tortilla. But it's like, why?
Yeah, like some white guy's gonna look at things like, isn't that just a quesadilla? Like, no, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, it's also just like, I don't know. I know that I don't want to turn into one of those guys that complains about how Mexicans don't get enough respect.
I will say this that I love about Mexican food and being compared to like French and Italian cuisine is French and Italian cuisine is so intricate and so technical and so like artsy fartsy and shit. We make so many different dishes with the same 4 ingredients and they'll taste different. Go fuck yourself. We're better at it.
Yeah.
We won food.
I agree. I guess that's a good spot to wrap up. That's a good place for us to I don't know. I know we kind of jumped around a lot, but there's a lot of stuff to cover in food, and we definitely I would say this is more of our introductory episode onto this topic, because we are going to be exploring more dishes. We're going to be cooking recipes that people send us, and hopefully get some blogs and content out of this, like doing some traveling, trying new foods and stuff like that.
Even showing off like our family recipes. Like, it's not technically Mexican, but I want to try to make grandma's oatmeal, because she essentially just makes like edible horchata, and it's delicious. It's amazing. That's an oversimplification. It is the absolute best oatmeal I've ever had ever.
Hell yeah. So, do you have any other thoughts?
If you made it this far, what is your favorite meat, cheese on corn?
What is the best version of meat and cheese on corn?
What's your favorite Latin dish?
Yeah.
Or what's something you'd like to see us cook for our next vlog?
Yeah. And thank you.
Beep, beep, beep.
Are we doing that?
Well, I want to wait till we tell the story.
Okay. We're going to tell it on the next episode.
Spice it up.
Spice it up. Use promo code UP20 for 20% off legacycheeseandspices.com. Also, it was Ryan's birthday on Tuesday.
Yeah. As of this recording, it was 2 days ago.
Yeah, as of this recording, it was on the 6th. So make sure you reach out to Ryan, wish him a happy birthday.
I am celebrating. So this will come out the day before I'm having a birthday party on Saturday.
Yeah, none of you guys are invited though.
No, but you can say happy birthday. I promised my dad. I wasn't gonna do this anyway, but I had to promise my dad I'm not gonna vlog anything, but I'll take pictures afterward.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun. We're gonna do a game night, and we're gonna do steak. I almost made it a pizza party, but then so I was like, I kind of want pizza, and someone's like, we're not having a pizza party for your birthday, and I was like, oh my god, we should have a pizza party for my birthday.
But also it's your birthday.
Pointy hats, piñatas, and balloons. But that's the thing is when I do parties like that, I get more involved in the party, making the party happen itself, than actually being the birthday boy. I was like, we should have cotton candy, but I'm like, no, because then I want to make the cotton candy. I like this. I'd want to make a birthday crown out of cotton candy.
All right, I think that's good enough.
All right.
We can go. Bye.
Bye.